Hi, Luchi. Good to see you. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. This is a Toronto team that you've got some experience with. You faced them in preseason. Both teams obviously facing a lot of international call-ins and some injuries. What do you expect to see from them? 4-3-3 type team, possession-oriented, similar to your team. How do you think you expect this to play out in terms of the Toronto team you'll face on Saturday? Thank you.
Yeah, Toronto's coming off their first win, and they had a strong performance against Miami, and I'm sure they're going to be hungry to gain momentum. They're a good team. In preseason, we had a tough game against them, and obviously they were figuring their personnel out and their form. We were doing the same, but this is a very good team, very good midfielders. That can combine, connect, create, and they've got, I know they've, like you said, we both have some challenges in terms of call-ups and injuries, but it's an opportunity. I'm sure they want to show their depth, and we want to show ours the same. So, and when Bob Bradley's head coaching any team, that team's going to be, competing at the highest level in our league. So, we expect a very difficult game, and coming off our last result, we certainly want to move forward quickly and show a short memory and respond with our own desire and performance against Toronto.
Next question, Fabian Renkel.
Hey, Luchi, thank you for your time today. With the Quakes 2 opener coming up this Sunday, I wanted to ask how much involvement will you have with the second team, as well as what's the communication with you, Pavello, and DeGear, and what are some players to keep an eye out for from Quakes 2 for the fan base? Thank you.
Yeah, look, in details, Dan's going to give more insight. He works daily with the group. I get updates from Dan very often. Dan spent many hours with us as a staff in the preseason. He was on the field working with us as well, because we had a lot of players from the second team involved in our numbers in preseason. So it was a really great process of integration. Alex Cavello, we've also been meeting and building a relationship and understanding to align the academy, second team, and first team in terms of game model, in terms of values, team culture, in terms of language, staff expectations, and communication. So it's been great working with these guys and learning from them about the club, the experience, the players, the current players in the first team that are still young and have high ceilings, and then the group that's with the second team, the academy, so the youth national teams. I think the communication's been open. It's been great. I've enjoyed my experience. I haven't really seen the second team very often, just because of the logistical challenges that they train on a different site than our own and at a different time. But as the official game starts soon, I look forward to seeing the games that I can and seeing the trainings that I can to get to know that pool of players even better.
Next question from Kylie Mills.
Hey, Coach, appreciate the time. Quick question for you, just with Carlos Grueso possibly dealing with an injury. What are you looking for from whoever steps into that midfield role? How important is it that your team controls the game from the middle of the pitch?
Yeah, look, it looked like Grueso we would be missing anyway due to national team duty, and so he's recovering from what you saw in the last weekend was a knock. But the good thing is that he shouldn't be out very very long. He should make a quick recovery. And I won't be specific about his availability versus Toronto, but which everyone will learn soon enough. Yeah, look, he's a player that you saw him have a good start to the last game, and we certainly missed him when he wasn't available on the field for us. And he was brought in to be kind of this engine in the middle, this enforcer, ball recovery, physicality, play simple to give the ball to other players, and just really be an anchor in the midfield and help us protect the back line, recover balls like I mentioned, get pressure on the ball, intensity. So those are things that are not easy to replace, and that's why he's a very important player for us. But at the same time, he's also a guy that others are learning from, and we have other capable players to play with intensity, to play physically, and to battle for duels, win second balls, as well as create and build a game from back to front. So, like I said, this is a game we're going to need to show an example of our depth, and I'm very confident in our group to show that whether or not Carlos Grueso is on the field.
Thank you, Luchi. Let's take a couple more. Going back to a second one from Jamin Moore. Go ahead, Jamin.
Hey, Luchi, thanks for taking a second. I want to dig into that just a little bit more because, whether you have Carlos Grueso available to you or not, you haven't had Jutson's availability this season so far. So, when you are facing a situation where you won't have a Carlos Grueso, who else are you looking at to potentially step into being able to play in that type of defensive midfielder role? Jackson Ewell has done some of that in the past. Michael Baldissimo had an opportunity to step in against St. Louis. What are the strengths and weaknesses of various options that you might have in potentially filling in that type of role?
Yeah, no, look, it's important to recognize, not having Jutson the last almost month and a half is definitely not ideal. He is another, kind of enforcer in the midfield, intensity, ball winner. And we've certainly missed him, and actually he's showing signs of returning very soon, which is very positive. We talked about Grueso and naturally what he brings to the team on and off the field. But yeah, look, I think Jackson has had different roles in the back line and in the center mid as a defensive mid, and whether the national team and the club, he has he has a bite in him, surely. Tommy, Michael Baldissimo, these are Baldissimo's a young player still in our league, has experience, but hasn't reached his ceiling. So he's going to continue to grow and evolve and become more complete. And so that's a player that's still developing. Great quality on the ball, and but he's got a strong frame, and there's no reason why he can't also enforce physically. But he has all the tools to do it, absolutely. So we're confident he can with opportunities. We're confident. Jack Scahan is competition in the midfield as well. And Cruz is a player that's really young. And he's still learning through the academy, the second team, and a little bit more in that attacking role. But those are some examples of guys that can step it up for us if given the opportunity in the midfield. Paul Marie is a fullback, but let's not forget he played a midfielder through his youth and his college days. So. He's got a bite to him. He can win balls and get stuck in and win duels. So those are things that we gotta know that we don't depend on individuals to show that. That's a collective concept. And look, we wish we could have got get the last game back and replay that game, but not at all. Let's learn from it and let's grow and know that matching creativity with physicality and intensity in duels is going to be important for us to be successful in this league, home or away, and let's learn from it and let's be better from it, no matter who's on the field, because of the collective energy and effort to do it.
And one final question from Alex Moore.
Hi, Luchi. Thanks for taking a question. Good to talk to you. There was a report that Carlos Acosta was called up to national team duty and then asked by you guys to stay for this window with the club so we could play against Toronto. I want to know if that's something that you can confirm and what that dialogue was like with Carlos about the national team duty.
Look, Carlos is a player that is just getting volume and minutes. Suffering almost a year ago from an injury that has kept him out for a long period of time. So, he's building things with us in our club environment through preseason and now that are really positive. Every player called to the national team duty from a club perspective, we embrace that. I personally am very proud anytime a player gets called to the senior national teams because look myself, I've worked in the national team and I know the pride that goes into that. and we're gonna always support that, me personally and as a club. Of course, there's dialogue and communication with each federation, with each player's progress, if they're coming back from an injury, kind of load management and how they're doing. And, we're always going to be supportive of our guys getting opportunities. And if we miss them in our opportunity, in our competition here with San Jose, we embrace that. We find that as a good challenge because it's an opportunity for others to step it up and rise to the occasion and show our depth. So, look, with Carlos, ultimately these decisions are made. Final decisions are made between the federation and the player through collaboration and understanding, and then the club's role in that is to support whatever decisions are made between the player and the club to understand, support, and be on the same page. So that's how I can update it, and Carlos is here doing a recovery that we'll see if his availability for the weekend, but he's he is here with the club, and again, that's a decision between him and the federation. But he has a dedication to the federation, and I'm not going to be surprised if he's called again, and wearing his country's colors, and whatever that decision is made between federation and player, that we're going to understand and support.
All right.
Just to clarify, so you're saying that it was his decision based on his fitness level and where he's at with the club right now not to go.
Yeah, look, we're not allowed to tell a player or a federation they can't go unless there's an injury. Like, that's the rule. It's very clear. It's FIFA rules. If a player gets called, they get cleared to go. If there's something that injury-wise, then allow the player to perform, and there's a communication between the doctors, the medical staff, and then there's decisions made in a collaborative way. So that's the extent of the details I can share.
All right, thank you, Luchi. Thank you, everyone, for the questions. We're going to be having